What's up, everyone? Welcome. Today we're going to look at a. It's already a little bit of an older episode. I think it came out past Friday. I forgot where to check it. Really. Anyway, um, it's a new Star Citizen Live game dev mission maker. So they're gonna make missions, which interesting. I feel like missions could add so much to the game, even in its current state. And I understand that their perspective is are that they don't want to add too much in the sense of missions, in the sense of um, like elaborate content. They just want to like test mechanics until like the server meshing because they feel like they have to do a whole lot again. But on the same note, I also feel like a lot of the difficult parts about missions or something like that is not necessarily the technical implementation, but also like the concept, like what is a mission looking like, and is it actually enjoyable and that kind of stuff. It's nice to have it like all on paper and everything. But personally, I would love to see a whole lot more diversity in the game with missions. And also like with other things, like release it for more testing, purposes. Even though it's a little bit more buggy. Then again, I'm not a game developer, so and I'm not working at CIG, so they can decide how they're going to release the game any way they want. Without that out of the way, I think Jared is going to make a mission. I'm not gonna watch the whole video, but just the important stuff. And we'll see how far we go. Uh, all right. Star Citizen Live.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Welcome to another episode of Star Citizen Live, Game Dev,
I gotcha.
Mission Maker. I don't know what was wrong with the cadence there. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good.
I'm Jared. I'm your humble sidekick this week with the Game Dev shows. We usually kind of turn over the driving force to one of our developers who takes you through a bit of their process over the next hour. This week, we have, who are you again?
Elliot Mulby.
We have Elliot Maltby, and what do you do?
I make missions. Well, I'm a lead designer now, so not as much missions anymore, but I still make missions.
I like his keyboard.
What he said. We are going to attempt something that every single person told me was probably a bad idea.
Including me.
We are going to attempt to make a mission from scratch using the mission verb, Star Words, DataForge, RoboHesse, all the cool tools that are used, and see if we can't make a mission and even get inside and play it for a little bit within the span of an hour. Can it be done?
I don't think so.
I think so.
Oh, you think
Finally, I'll
so?
be able to prove
Okay.
the community wrong because everyone says that I can't make missions.
Oh,
We'll find out.
Right. So at this point
All right.
in the show, I'm going to turn it over to, who are you again?
Oh my God, Elliot Mulby.
Elliot Maltby. And he's going to take you through a little bit of the rough flow, introduce you to the idea of it. So Elliot, that's your camera right there. Let's go to that camera. So,
Hi.
Sit back a little bit. Frame. There you go. There you go. Good framing. So tell them what we're doing today.
So, today we're going to be going through a mission. So we have a sort of a rough pitch outline for it. So I am going to be making a prototype experience of the mission where we can play it, see how it feels, see how it plays, and then iterate on it, improve it, and then decide if we want to like wait for more things to come in to make it even better, or if we think it's a good enough experience to put it out and then improve on it as time passes by. So that's pretty much it.
So walk us through. What's the rough flow? What are we aiming to do?
Okay, right. So the rough flow is we're doing a subdue and recover mission, which is I go to a location, I knock the AI out, and then I have to go and deliver them. That is the very roughest flow of it. It's
Bob's your uncle.
simple, right? No.
Okay.
Personally, I would also like to see more missions that give you certain end goals instead of and give you the freedom on how to achieve them. And I understand that they're trying to do that a little bit. Like they're not really saying, "Oh, you have to fly the ship" or anything, but a mission that would just simply say, "Well, deliver." I mean, this is already like a delivery mission. Then deliver 50 SCUs of quartz to this specific location. Good luck. Like you can even go mine, you can buy it, you can do whatever, but those missions personally I would feel like would be really, really cool. Or like maybe like a security target, make a where they hire you as like a security contractor for around Harcorp maybe, and make sure that less than so many ships as a team or as an organization, so many ships get captured or something like that, which of course very difficult, but
So, is there any more to explain before we jump into the process?
what was it? Subdue and recover, I think.
Yeah, so there's a couple of things that I'm going to try to do. So as people might know, I don't like hand holding. So there are certain things we do currently in Star Citizen. For example, when you get to the location, we would mark the ship, and then when the AI spawns, we then mark the AI for you to get. Listen, right? It's warm. I've got like a 20-pound light staring at me. So we then mark the AI for you to take out. Now I'm going to try and remove those aspects. So I want to leverage the scanning gameplay. So you actually have to ping, scan, whatever to find the ship. And once it has been detected by your ship, I'll mark it then. And then when you get into the ship, I won't mark the AI directly. I will wait until either they see you or you are within a certain range of them. This is kind of like an imperfect solution because it's either I mark them, so you always know where they are and you beeline straight to their location. I do this, but the perfect solution would be, say, FPS scanning, but we don't have that yet. So it's kind of like playing with the mission, and it's trying to understand what the end goal of the mission is going to be like when we finish it.
Yeah, I mean that's perfectly fine. Like it kind of alludes to what I said earlier. The missions that they are able to make, they can elaborate in so many ways on those missions to make them more interesting, more like. And as time evolves, as new systems get added, you can reiterate on those missions too, right? I understand there's like a little bit of a risk on missions breaking the game, but in the end, it might be somewhat decent enough to try to balance that with the amount of money you get from the mission. But yeah.
All right, so let's start the screen share. Every good mission starts with helpful encouragement from Luke Presley.
Yes.
We have Luke, so we're already ahead. Introduce us to our tools. What are we using today?
Cool. Okay, so what the main and biggest tool that a designer uses is RoboHesse. This is a tool that takes all of our Perforce streams and loads them all here. So it's very quick for us to click and go through them. So if I was to click this, it shows other Perforce streams, and I can just jump between them, and I can click, open my tool here, open my tool here, open my tool there. I can do things like I can get a new build, I can have certain files I care about for sync. So for example, like latest subsumption will just pull my subsumption files. OC and levels will just pull the latest object containers and levels, which obviously helps to speed up testing and gameplay. And then there's the things here to boot the game and things like that. This tool was made by our amazing Jake Mule, well, not ours anymore, and me, Ben Dorsey, and Andrew Hesse helped to design it, and it has saved so many hours, not just on MFT's side, it is a lot of the people in the company use it, so. Okay. So I'd use this to boot up my tools, and the tools I need are things like Subsumption, which is our logic-based editor, which I'll full screen in a minute.
Just a quick note. I mentioned earlier how happy I am to see like how well they're developing their tools internally, and I understand that there's a lot of concern on money being wasted on internal tools instead of the game. But as you mentioned, they're making the internal tool to save time on the opposite side. So in the end, of course, it should be a net gain. I'm not sure if it always is, but I assume like in many cases it is like a significant net gain, especially what he's saying, like it saves him many hours for multiple people, and that quickly adds up. So that's why I'm specifically happy that they are putting so much effort into making these tools, because it kind of enables your developers to do so much more, so much quicker. Even though in the short term it doesn't give you the reward, because in the short term you're still developing the tool while you're still using like the old-fashioned way until the tool is finished, right? So that's a very difficult conversation to convince, especially backers to say, "Oh, we need this tool," especially like if you just want to play the game. If you're not really that interested in the development part, they would much rather like that people just or the developers, CRG specifically, spend their time working on the game itself. But personally, I'm all for this, like, because at some point, you know, it will reach its like a kind of state where everything is so easy. What's up, Dunks?
StarWords, this thing, which is how we build strings for the game. And last but not least, DataForge. And this is how we build, oh my god, like everything in the game. This is where you build entities, it's where you build missions, it's where you build everything. Pretty much everything that's not a mission.
Now, you skipped over StarWords. It's been a long time since we've talked about StarWords. When you say strings, this is text strings.
Text strings, lock IDs they're called. So it's text that we put in and we put in the game, but it's in this sort of tool here, so people can localize it for other languages. But it's always like linked to one place. It's quite common in the games industry to have this sort of stuff. But this is a really cool interface they've built for us to use it. So. Okay. Cool. All right. So first things first. So I've talked about the rough flow. So I need to think of a story. Now I have been mulling over a story for a while. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a folder for my story to go into. And this is going to be called Subdue. I can't spell, by the way. And recover. Boom. And then when it responds already, there we go. Beautiful. My PC is not a good PC, okay? So I've opened up the folder for Subdue and Recover. And in here, I'm going to make a bunch of strings. So I need to make a story. So the story usually consists of three initial strings, which would be the title, the description, and then the from string. I don't need to use the from string because I'm going to use a mission giver that already exists. I'm going to use Ruto. I'm sure many of you know Ruto. And So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make, so the lock ID is how we link it. So the English text is the text, and the lock ID is how we sort of link it to this. So I'm going to do oh my God, subdue and recover underscore title. And what I'm going to do to save myself time is I'm going to copy that so I don't have to retype it. New description. So the title is going to be, which I've already thought of the story. This was I planned the story ready for this because I thought it was good. The title is going to be called A Personal Request, and the description, which I'll open into a big window so everyone can see it, is this: Ruto's asking for help. His Jumptown operation has recently come under attack, and we've been struggling to get the maze to where he needs it to be. A certain pirate, arguably the worst, has been causing havoc and stopping his operatives from extracting it for Ruto. He wants you to hunt and bring them back to him alive. He wants to punish them and recoup his losses emotionally. And let's see if they can still say all good ships have a name after he's finished with them. So you're going to go to the location, you're going to bring back Void Dude and bring him back alive. And if you complete this, Ruto will expose his other hit list for you to bring in people like Detox, Old Man Johnny Morgan, Blasphemous, and Xperia. So they're all going to be hunted next up. So there's the story string. Sorry, I'm laughing at my own jokes.
Always a good start.
There's my story string. Now after this, I have to create a bunch of other strings to do with the actual mission. So this is going to be a bit of typing, actually I can just take it from my document where I planned some of this.
I assume this is like literally mission, so like the rewards
we've got the title,
and everything.
We've got the description, so we're going to go through little bits of it. So I'm going to go through. So we have, in missions, you have like a long objective, a short objective, you have a HUD, and you have a marker. They all have separate strings because we might want to adapt them in different ways to display different things for the player. So what I've done here is I've put, I've done the subdue and deliver, and I'm doing the locate part of it. So this is before you've found them, this is finding them. This is the HUD section. Now, so what this is on the top of the player screen, it will say locate. And right now on the screen, you'll see a wiggly line, and it says mission and brackets target name. It looks very weird. But what this is that is a token. And what a token is that allows us to dynamically pull in data from the live game. So this is how we're able to do things like generate a name randomly as we go along and have it fill in. So this would read locate Void Dude, or it could say locate Burks, or it could say locate Gabs. It could say locate Jared. Like it could pull whatever from our random system. So I'm filling these out. These are the long and short. So the long is what you see in your Mobi-Glass when you pull up your arm. The short is what appears when we flash those notifications up to you. Cool. This one that I'm doing here is an objective setup. Now this one is specifically for how I build the mission, because if I'm thinking about the mission in a theory kind of way, and this is how, when we build missions, we think like this for other designers' sakes. So I go, okay, well, the missions are subdue and deliver, so what is it? I'm going to go there, we've got to enter the location.
He's going to fill all of this in.
Objective that's going to be go there, and that's the marker that will be...
I'm just going to quickly skip ahead a little bit.
And I'd save that. And that...
So we have the subdue long. Okay, the marker, last known location. Yeah, essentially pretty much all the text you'll see in game when related to the mission. Like, you accept the mission. Specifically, it didn't really provide any reward or anything like that. Does it even give like a... No.
Because we try to think modularly, I have to think about how I'm going to do this. So, because I want to show you the ship thing, and I knew the pencil was there. Now I don't know anything exists. So I have to tell you to go there so I know it exists. But that means I have to tell my module not to just start up, because without preing it, it will just boot up as soon as you accept it, and I don't want that. I want it to boot up when certain conditions are fulfilled. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a input variable. So this is going to be passed into the module by myself or a designer. and the input is going to be of type mission data set entry. This represents our sorry, I'm thinking while I'm typing. There we go. This represents like our locations in the world. That's the sort of data form we have. So I'm gonna throw on set module location. So this node allows us to tell the pre-init not to fire until the mission location that I pass in has told it it's loaded. So the mission location has like it's assigned to an object container. So when that object container is gone, have loaded.
I'm very technical, very quick.
It's all ready for you, and I can move forward with it.
It's not going to tell you to go someplace that doesn't exist yet.
Exactly. So what I'm next going to do is I'm going to get that mission locations object container, and I'm going to make a. So the difference between these two panels, this is, I use the word global, but they like restrict the scope in which you can see variables. So this one is the global. So all these variables here for the everything in this column. These variables can be accessed by any of these like scopes here, whereas this is restricted only to the pre-init. These are my local variables. So I use these because I will clog up my global variables. If I didn't, I don't want them there. It's more efficient for me to make these ones that kind of just get like yeeted once the whole thing's turned off or has stopped running in this case. So I'm going to make a local reference to the location object container, and then I'm gonna get the object's position because what I'm gonna have the designer do is I'm gonna have the designer pass me in the ship that they want to spawn occupied. Ooh, pardon me. And then I'm gonna spawn it. So I need to know the position so I can sort of anchor that as the route of where I'm gonna spawn the AI in this sort of area. So I need to find a local position. So it's going to be location, pause.
So it feels very much
pause,
like it's like the constraints.
Cool. Underscore L is only so like if I'm here not looking here, I can tell where the variable's scope is set, so I can like quickly know if it's used outside of here or not. Request spawns around position. So when I open this is our quick task selector. We also have all of this you can go through and select, but I just happen to know the names of the nodes because I use them on a daily basis. Right, okay, so next up, I need to make the data that the designer is going to pass to me, or I'm going to pass to me. Future Elliot's going to pass, but also designers when they use this. Of type spawn description. A spawn description is, imagine it like a recipe book. It's a recipe book before you bake the cake and put it in the oven. It's like all the information that it's going to use to build the cake. That's terrible. I'm sorry.
Even Jared is confused.
So good.
I know. Listen, you know what? It's weird as well because I'm a lead, so I have to train people. So you guys, this is what my team get and have to build missions with. So.
Oh dear God.
Cool. So occupied ships to spawn. So this is going to be that cookbook I'm given. I'm going to keep saying it. You can all deal with it. And I'm going to... Then we have the sort of next... Sorry. The next inputs are the position. So that's going to be the root point of where we spawn. And then I have a range and a spread. Range is it takes the point and then it sort of makes a circle at a certain range that's safe and then spawns it. So mid is like 5K. And I think point is like directly on it. And what it does is it starts at that range. So if I specify mid, it will start from 5K out of that circle and start searching for a safe location so it doesn't spawn into collision and players can't get it and blah de blah de blah. I'm going to set it to close so it's...
and this way it doesn't always spawn in the exact same spot every single time because that would be incredibly repetitive.
Yes, it allows us to definitely get that sort of element of it feeling somewhat fresh every time you go there because if you know where everything is, the mission becomes easy. Next up, I need to make a spawn request variable. So I'm going to call this occupied ship underscore SR. So a spawn request, or this, so the blue input, these blue things are inputs, and the grey thing is an output. So this is going to take this data in, and then it's kind of giving me a receipt, and it's going, we'll contact you about your receipt whenever we've done whatever you've asked us to. My Sorry, that's terrible. That's even worse. But it basically allows us to get this information back here, so I can tell sort of if certain things have been fulfilled. So, for example, I'm going to make a on ship spawned, and I'm going to also tidy this up because we don't build stuff like that because it looks horrible. Callbacks. I'm going to put it in this folder. Thank you. Cool. And then next up, I'm going to build the... so now the ship spawned. So I'm like, okay, cool. The ship has spawned. That's great. Now I need to actually spawn the AI on it. So what I'm going to do is I want to check to see if this is the initial spawn of the ship, which is this thing. And then if it is the initial spawn of the ship, I want to do a lot of setup. I don't want to do it every time because we get this callback whenever the ship's streamed back in. So if you go away from it and the ship streams out, when you come back, we need to retell the, say it's like a bounty. Say you've got your target AI and he's got a bunch of mates. We have to retell his mates to defend their mate or else they forget. So that's what we have this callback for. It's very useful for that sort of stuff. Next up, I'm going to send an event to a mission instance, and the mission instance is going to be...
I bet it makes
parent.
so much sense to him, but...
If I can find it, the parent mission. This is basically because I know this module is going to be called by another module. It means that I need to communicate back to that module to tell it when I've done things. So for example, I'm going to jump and get this modular event. So we build a bunch of events that if we identify that we're sending a lot of events and they're always in the same sort of format, we'll just use a modular event. It's the same as a modular mission, it's just for a modular event. And I'm going to pass in the spawn ship. So the spawn ship, these are things returned to me. So when that callback is fired, so hey, the ship spawned, it will return to me these variables filled in. So it will give me identifier tags. These are tags are placed on the ship so I can identify what it is. The initial spawn boolean, discussed that. The pilot of the ship and the ship itself that has been spawned. So next I'm going to make sure that I send back that information because future Elliot might need it and also the designer might need it. Cool. Next up, I need to find objects in the ship. So the ship spawned and now I need to spawn AI on the ship. So that means that I need to search the ship for a spawn closet manager. This is so we do a lot of searching via tags because it's very efficient and it's not expensive to search. So I'm going to make a tag search here for the spawn closet. Come on.
Spawn closets, of course, being where NPC ships or fighters or whatnot pop into the universe behind a curtain where they can't be seen usually.
Yeah, and this one specifically is for. So the ship is going to have AI on it. So this one's going to grab the ones that are on the ship directly and then tell them to spawn. So the spawn closet system, even though it's called spawn closet, we don't have to use it like a closet with a door. We can also use it for what we call initial spawns, which is when the location is first loaded in and the player isn't there, we can populate them out and about. Because like if you get to a location and you was to beat the streaming and you just see them all walking out of doors, you're going to be like, well, hold on. So you've just come out because I'm here. So it makes them feel more alive if we can have them already out and trying to find their usables. And
sometimes the curtain is just getting them there before the player is.
yeah, exactly. Next up, I'm going to return the found objects, which is going to be the ship's spawn closet managers. Oh my god, how much time do I have left?
You're doing good, sweetie.
I mean,
He said
Are you winning,
you would
son?
be able
no,
to make
I'm,
it
like,
within 1
barely
hour.
through the first half. You're gonna have to make this a two-part, Jared. Cool.
We're still in
I'm trying
time.
to be fast now. Next up is the loop until. This is basically because there's going to be more than one spawn closet in here. I need to go through
Suckin'.
each of the spawn closet managers and make sure that I
I'm not on
I
the
send the request.
Star
out.
Citizen
So
right now.
Another variable that I need to create for our designers is an input variable, again of type spawn descriptions, called NPC NPCs to populate ships.
Sometimes you just call it what it is. You know, there's this.
In when I was in school, they taught me two of the hardest things in computer science is cache invalidation and naming conventions. And
There's no timeline on when they're going to implement this specific mission, so don't get your hopes up. It's more of a insight into the on how the process works behind behind the curtain within CIG. It's like they want to show you that they are actually working on things, kind of, and how things are working.
naming conventions.
Naming conventions is the number one.
Yeah.
It's the number one.
Current spawn.
Yeah, we'll do part 2 next week. I haven't asked Elliot, but I'll volunteer him for it.
There we go.
Don't worry about it. We'll do it next. We'll finish it up next week. We've never done a 2-part SEO. It's a good one.
Yes.
You think it's actually going to be a 2-parter?
Spawn description. Yeah. So then I'm going to take the current spawn description that I've popped. So popping is like a Pez dispenser. I've pulled it out of the Pez machine and I'm going to use it. I'm going to eat it now.
So what popping's like? Just like a Pez dispenser?
Yeah, it's Pez dispenser. That's how I describe it.
It's only
Have a lot of popping Pez dispensers when you were a kid?
this is going to
Did you
be
not?
the rest of the
Popping?
stream. He's going
Yeah,
to
because you pull the thing down, it pops out. Did it not pop out? No? Was it not meant to
Like
pop
like
out?
setting
so
up the
pushes
logic
that.
behind
You have, like, some
everything, like
automatic
spawning
fire
the
Pez
ship and
dispensers?
spawning
Well,
the.
what do they say? Tomato, tomato. Like that. And it's going to send the modular request again of AI spawned.
And I wanted to show that. This is my water.
Yeah, so I've started building the main mission. So what I've done here is, once again, I've created a pre-init.
Here's the
because
main
pre-init
mission.
will stop this from properly like running until the player gets to the location, because there's certain things that I need to find when you get there. So making sure that you don't. So this is going to be the target ship location, because again, I'm managing.
I want to know.
Please
Are we getting
find,
like the mission in game?
In an hour.
Yeah. Right, I'll up it to 15, so on and so forth. And then there's a bunch of next steps after this, but we're nearly there.
Yeah. So what we'll do? What are you doing next Friday?
I mean, working. Hopefully from Manchester. I'm off home for a few days, but we'll have to work that out.
All right. So we'll see if we can do next Friday. Bring it back and then play the mission, because I really like to get in there and see this work.
Yep. Yeah. Same.
All right. Meet you over that camera.
All right, we're getting a little bit of insight into how they make the mission. Unfortunately, we don't get to see the whole mission. I understand that he's filling out all the details about how the logic works and when it's failing and when it's succeeding and when the ship is spawning and that kind of stuff. But kind of trying to skip over that a little bit, since it's somewhat tedious. Like it's if you want to see it, it's live on let's see, the episode was initially released on the 11th, so we're a couple of days late already. And yeah, it looks good. Next week we'll see the result. I hope they don't spend like an hour on only the result, but we'll see about that. And yeah,